my episode I've been planning for like 2 weeks. Been working at this one. I decided to record on a Saturday this time. Usually I wait till Sunday nights. But my Boston Bruins just eliminated the Leafs in overtime of Game 7. And I feel in a really happy mood. So I decided to just record tonight. And I was going to split this episode into 3. But you know what? I'm just going to do it all in one. So this episode will probably run somewhere like in the hour area. But I'll go somewhat quick through each title. But I'm just going to do it all in one. That way I can get right back to doing stuff and not just have a bunch of episodes lined up for the week. I like to just watch and never stop. So I'm going to get straight into this. And I watched and ranked. So I own 50 horror movies from, I thought it was 51, but I own 50 from 2023. And I'm going to show them to you. Give a quick little thought on each one. From number 50 all the way to number 1. And I'd love to hear comments afterwards, whether or not I'm an idiot for my picks, what you would pick as your even top 5, stuff like that. But right here in number 50, I have Kill Her Goats. Now this is a collectible steel book, 4K collectible steel book. All kinds of art cards. I'm not going to show everything off. But this is a nice steel book for one of the worst movies I've seen in years. Like, this thing was just brutal. Like, I'll do quick thoughts on each one. This is my number 50 pick because it is, the acting is worse than porno acting. It's like just horrendous. Oh man, I can't even begin to describe. The kills are all lazy. They don't even come until the final act. Like, you're an hour into this thing and it's still nothing's happened. It's just brutal. Like, I would suggest giving it a watch just to see how bad it really is. And I have a 4K collectible steelbook, so I actually had some hope. So I was thinking, if they put this thing out on a nice 4K steelbook, it's got to have some kind of quality, right? But no. In number 49th place, this one borderlines on horror. It's called The Ritual Killer. It stars Cole Hauser and Morgan Freeman. It's kind of in the vein of like Seven. Obviously not even, it's a bad comparison, but that's the type of movie it is. And the killer like eats people's hearts and stuff. So it's really gruesome. And so that's what kind of I decided to put this in horror because the killer is very brutal. And he's also like a witch. So you can give it a try if you like that style of movie. A little bit of fun to be had there. In number 48, I have a movie called The Jester. And I had a little bit of hopes for this one, just because of the premise. And it's about a malevolent spirit that is kind of latched itself to this family. It's almost like a curse. And then it's the Jester here is basically Art the Clown from Terrifier, only shitty. Like, I'll keep these quick and simple just so I can move through fast and actually knock off all 50 of these in a reasonable time. But like, it had some okay qualities, but honestly, it just felt like it's a Terrifier 2 clone, is what it is. But just like everything's a lot shittier. So that's why it took my Number 48 spot. Next up here, in number 47, 47th place, I have Island Escape. This one, from the same company actually, Dread. These are both, this one and the last one are Dread originals. Don't think I have a lot from Dread, but this is apparently number 47 on the spine, and Jester is number 48. Okay. But yeah, this one, first time I heard of this, I was doing an episode on with Brendan from Our Life in Horror on his podcast, and he sent me the trailer for it to watch because we were going to talk about trailers. And I just picked it up a couple of weeks ago, and it has potential. It's like a bunch of soldiers it's kind of like Predators. They're trapped on a sci-fi like island, and there's a bunch of zombies, and they slowly start to figure out why these zombies are there. They don't ever really give you a good explanation. It's pretty bad. The CG in a couple of the spots is bad. The acting's okay. It's just, there's nothing special about it at all. It was a bit of a letdown. Number 46th place is The Black Demon. This one I had quite a bit of hope for. Haven't seen Josh Lucas in a while. Giant megalodon-sized shark. And what let me down in this is that it is basically all storyline. And I think there's one shark kill in the movie, and it's not even good. Like, oh man, it just sucks. It's a global warming premise. They're stuck on an oil rig. The megalodons swimming around the oil rig won't let them off, won't let anybody near it. Like, it felt like it had some promise and just did not deliver. If you're gonna give me a giant shark fin on a movie, the whole movie better be about a giant shark, not some other storyline. Now this next one, in number 40, my 45th, is a movie that a lot of people seem to love. And I honestly thought this was one of the most boring, like, I'll just say it's Skinamarink, Shudder original. And I think I just got my hopes up too much because everybody was just talking about this on the internet and everywhere basically. And oh man, it's just a snooze fest to me. I did not find it scary. It's not my last movie of the year. Only because I give the director props for just trying to do something different and give us something we haven't seen before. But if it wasn't for me being generous, it's honestly, it would be my worst movie of the year, because I don't even feel like it is a movie. Like, it's so like, just nothing happens at all. You want to talk slow burns? There's the king of it. In number 44th place, I have a movie called Scalper. Now, this one, I was expecting a lot more from, especially with that frickin' slipcover. This is, I ordered this off Vinegar Syndrome's website. This is one of their partners. This is Dark Star Pictures. There's what the actual case looks like in the back. Stars Jake Busey. Bailing's in this for a little bit. Haven't seen her in a long time. But this one, oh man, it starts out with one of the nastiest, grossest kills. Like, it gives Terrifier a run for its money at the beginning. It literally has a guy raped to death with a giant knife up his ass. And it actually shows them spread his ass cheeks apart and, like, slowly ram this knife in, and then just, like, it's not like 5 pushes, it's like 40 pushes with this knife up his ass. And then when the guy's finally dead, he pulls it out and wipes the shit off on the guy's fucking face, and I almost puked. I'm gonna be honest. It was like, oh, this movie's gonna be rough. And then nothing happens for the next hour of the movie. It becomes another like Seven sort of movie where it's just a cop drama trying to figure out who the killer is. And then they bring in a girl that has she's like a psychic, and she keeps having visions of him killing people. And when it does that, which is so often in the movie, the pictures just, I don't know, it just does that dream sequence cinematography that always gets to me a bit. So yeah, bit of a big letdown on that one. I had a lot of hopes for that. This next one is The Black Mass. This is a hard one to talk about. This is a Ted Bundy like biopic sort of, and it's hard. If it didn't, like, it makes Ted Bundy, yeah, the whole movie is shot through the eyes of Ted Bundy. So you are Ted Bundy in the movie. And it feels very gross because of that. Like, it doesn't feel like they took these poor people's feelings into consideration, their families. Like, I usually don't care about this kind of stuff, but this one is so grisly. Like, you're strangling women to death, and you're doing it's first person, it's POV, and then you're beating women's heads in with wood, like with pipes and shit, raping poor girls while they're like screaming for their moms and stuff. It's just, it feels almost pornographic. They're showing the girls slowly showering and slow scenes up their backs and asses and tits while you're spying on them. When I say you, it's because it's POV. While you're spying on them through their windows. This would be a good movie if it wasn't based on real people that were brutalized. It kind of grossed me out when I was watching it. But it would have been higher if it wasn't for that. Next one here is The Blackening. This is another one I had a lot of hopes for. It looked really funny. It's like a blaxploitation. I didn't put my disc in there properly. It's like a blaxploitation slasher, and sorry, and about 10% of the jokes land. The rest of them are so bad that I just found myself rolling my eyes. And the kills aren't even that good. It was a letdown. I'll just move past it. In 40th place here, we have The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. This is basically a take on Frankenstein. She's like a science student who obsesses with bringing the dead back to life. And it's way too long to get to the story, especially considering the acting's mediocre, the writing's mediocre, the cinematography's mediocre. Like, everything's really just mediocre. And it takes it's too much storyline for a bunch of people that can't act that good. Like, I don't understand why they do that. In number 39th place, I have Gangnam Zombie. This is from Korea. Not much to say on this one either. Had some good kills, had some funny moments, but it's a Train to Busan ripoff, and it's not even near as good. Like, it's just, everything just feels a lot cheesier and shittier done. Just not well made. But it made my 39th place because it did have some decent kills, and delivered a couple lines of dialogue that I laughed out loud while watching. So it's worth it if you like Train to Busan. There is fun to be had, but it's just, don't expect much. All right, number 38th place here, I got Resident Evil Death Island. This is a animation movie based on the video game series. And grew up a huge Resident Evil fan. That's probably the only reason why this is on my list, because most people probably wouldn't like it. It's like, you gotta know the characters that are in it, so it makes you, it's like nostalgic feeling. As it goes, I played the first Resident Evils on the PlayStation 1 when I was a kid, and I just have a lot of nostalgia for the characters and everything. But, like, it's decent. It's a decent animated movie. It's got an okay story. What we got next here? The Haunting of the Queen Mary. Love ship horror, where people are trapped on a ship, ghost ship style. That's a pretty cool case too. Like, that smoke face coming off there is pretty creepy. And boy, did it not deliver on what I was expecting. First off, this was long. This is over 2 hours. This is 125 minutes of just pure, like, mediocrity again. It's hard for me. I don't like shitting all over movies, because I do, like, every movie I'm naming in this marathon episode. I do think everyone should give them all a watch just to see what you think, because, like, why not? But honestly, this freaking, just don't expect much. It's a ghost ship story that's all over the place, and for a while I didn't even know what was going on. Like, it had me lost. But yeah, next up we have Unwelcome. Had a lot of hopes for this one too. Frickin' basically like little trolls, lawn gnomes, and they're not in it enough. That's the problem. This is another, like, super story heavy, and it doesn't get good until the trolls, what do they actually call them in this? They had a name for them. They're I'll just go with trolls. Doesn't matter. They're just like little trolls. You can see them in the picture here. They're all, like, in a circle. Okay story. Like, we're starting to get a little bit better here. It's worth a watch. If you like just fun, like, silly creature type movies, it's decent. This one, Pet Sematary Bloodlines, next. This is a turd. Let's just be honest. It had a couple scenes I enjoyed, but the storyline just didn't have me intrigued enough. It didn't feel like, first off, the acting is shit, especially from the people that you expect it to be better from, like David Duchovny. Uh, who else was in this? Pam Grier. Pretty sure Pam Grier was in this. Yep. I was just expecting more, and it didn't live up to its hype. This one I watched yesterday, actually. This one borderlines on horror. It's called Missing. Actually, it borderlines on horror so much that I didn't even know whether I was going to include it, but I decided to anyway, just to even out my 50. Girl's mother goes missing, and she uses all of modern technology to try to figure out what happened to her. Has a cool, like most of these movies that I've seen that have this storyline, like webcam type movies. This one did. I knew the end was coming. Like it's not a twist, so I can't say twist, but the ending was done well. I did enjoy it. It wasn't like. I just wished the middle part was a little more exciting. Next up here, we have Creepy Crawly. This is a Thailand movie, I believe. This is in Thailand? It doesn't say, but it does say language Thai, so yeah, I think I'm right there. The front of that monster, like that monster on the front there, had me going on this one. I was like, ooh, this is gonna be a fun one. And it is. It's fun. It's a fun little, like, creature movie. This is killer centipedes. Or millipedes, sorry. Either centipedes? Shit. Can't remember the difference. I think it's centipedes. Killer centipede. Yeah, it's centipedes because of the great big freaking long things. They go inside people. They turn the people into monsters. There's a massive giant centipede creature. So some of the CG, if it wasn't for some of the CG effects throughout the middle of the movie being so terrible, like Sharknado level terrible and not funny, it would have been much higher on my list. There's another one I had a lot of hopes for. Has Bill Moseley, Danielle Harris, and Robert Englund as the leads, as the names on the cover, and I'm like, ooh, this might be interesting. And it's Natty Knox. Great atmosphere, like Halloween feel to it. Very, like Moseley does a great acting job. It just, I don't know, like it just didn't suck me in. It really pissed me off because I wanted to like it a lot. It just did not suck me in. Next up, in 31st place here, we have It's a Wonderful Knife. This one also had me super pumped. Justin Long. And it let me down. I felt like all the jokes fell flat. The acting was okay at best. Felt like almost a paycheck being cashed in for all of the leads that actually have a famous name. I honestly, oh sorry, it's 1 o'clock in the morning here, so I'm feeling the excitement. My adrenaline's still coming down from that hockey game. It's freaking brutal. Maybe if I light a cigarette, that'll help. There we go. That'll feel better. But yeah, It's a Wonderful Knife. It's watchable, but it's just, yet again, it's just not fucking. Oh, it bugs me. I wish it could have been better. Next up, we got another Shudder original here. This is VHS 85. Came with a nice slip. I had to order this in from the States, I think. I don't think in Canada they only released it on DVD. And it popped up on Amazon. I had to pay the import fee, so it was pricier than I would like to have paid for it, but whatever. Now I have it. VHS. I'll say this. This is my favorite of the 3 like Shudder VHS movies. What is it, 94, 99? And this one. This is my favorite of these 3, but still the shittiest of, like, it's number 4 then for me in the franchise. I think they get worse and worse as this franchise goes on. This one was slightly better stories than the last couple, but still, just man, it just felt, I don't know. Some of them were just too easily guessable, and I kind of figured out what was happening, what was going on early, and it's still okay. It's worth a watch. It's definitely like, it's not as bad as the last 2. Last 2 I felt were so freaking just just shitty camera work and everything in those last 2. Next up here, sorry about the smoking. I'm just relaxing because this is a long episode. This is A Haunting in Venice. This one borders on horror as well. It's stellar cast though. Like who's all in this sucker? It's this Kenneth Branagh. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's the lead. He's also like the writer and director and producer and everything on these, I think. It's got Tina Fey. It's got Michelle Yeoh. Like, it's got a stellar cast. The acting's all great. The storyline's pretty interesting and intriguing. It's basically the 3rd movie in the trilogy that's, what's the other 2? Murder on the Orient Express. What's the other one called? Death something. Fuck, how am I blanking on these? Whatever. It's still worth a watch. It's not too bad. Fun. Next up here, I have Children of the Corn remake. I guess you can call it a remake. I don't even know whether you'd call it a remake. It's just the next one, Children of the Corn movie, basically. I enjoyed this more than most people do. This is like called one of the worst movies of the year by a lot of different websites. It did not get a lot of praise. My own family absolutely hated it, but I found a little bit of fun with it. I liked the fucking corn on the cob monster, basically. I like to call him. And I don't think the acting's that bad. Like, the little girl does a decent job. I don't know. I think it gets more hate than it deserves. Next up, I watched this one this morning. This is called Consecration. This one stars Gina Malone and Danny Huston. Or Huston. Decent, like, what do you call these? Like, religious horror is the word I'm looking for. It's decent. Like, the reason why it's low on my list is because it doesn't do anything I haven't seen before. That's the problem. Like, it feels, it is run-of-the-mill religious horror stuff going on here. But I thought it was good. The acting was all really good. Well done. The storyline is decent. Like, I don't know. It's solid. It's worth your time. This next one really let me down because I'm a big fan of this franchise. Sorry, I'm smoking. I got fucking smoke in my eye. Stupid. I'm a big fan of this franchise. So, and this was directed by Patrick Wilson. This is his first crack at the Insidious movies, and this is number 5, Insidious: The Red Door. And I have to say that this is easily the worst of the 5. I do not... Oh, man. This would have been lower on my list, but it delivers some things I like. It has an awesome score, end credit song. It has good acting. Like, it does deliver in a lot of stuff, but it just felt like nothing I didn't see in the other Insidious movies. It's including, like, Darth Maul Demon. He's even in this, but I wish this could have been better, honestly. Next up, I got a Disney movie here. This is Haunted Mansion. This was way better than I ever thought it was going to be. I wasn't going to watch it, actually. And I threw it in just to give it a try, and it was funny. It delivered decent horror for kids. It's got a good storyline. Like, good storyline, good acting, some decent comedy. It's decent, especially in modern Disney movies. Like, they're pretty rare to get anything that's even worthy of a watch nowadays. But I would give that a try. I would definitely recommend that. I've never even seen the original with Eddie Murphy. Next up here, I got Five Nights at Freddy's. This, I have no nostalgia with this whatsoever. Never played the video games. I had some excitement just because of the creatures and the look of them and stuff. And then I found out Matthew Lillard was in it. So I was really excited. I haven't seen him in a while. And it's just too kiddish. It feels like horror done for 10-year-olds. And it did not land for me. The kills were all, like, okay. The kills they even showed, like, they don't even really show any kills. They're all, like, off-screen, off-camera deaths because it's so kiddish. I did like the look of the creatures. They were all cool. I think the reason why it got as high as it did on my list is because of how much I like the look of the creatures. I'm hoping, like, there's another one of these coming, so I'm hoping they do better in the next one and just deliver on the scares. Less storyline, more scares. Next up here, another one I had huge hopes for because I love the first one, and that's the Meg 2. Now, this could almost be argued whether it's horror or not. It's more of like an action-adventure movie at this point, but I throw it in horror. It's giant shark, killer shark movie, whatever. But this one, I know this is silly to say, but it was too silly. Like, it's stupid to say that. Like, you got a T-Rex eating a smaller animal there, and then a Megalodon coming up to eat both of them. You got Jason Statham on the back holding the fucking mouth with his legs somehow. But that's what I meant by too silly. It just didn't... I wish that one was better. It still looks beautiful on 4K though and sounds great. So I'd still give it a watch. At this point, everything's worthy of your time to get a watch. Because coming up on the top 20 here. This is number 23. This is The Tank. Just watched this one 2 days ago. This one surprised me. If there was less storyline and more creature. So it's couple inherit this house where the husband doesn't like his parents because they used to do something to him, and it's a mystery about what they used to do. But it ends up becoming a creature feature, and a pretty decent design on the creature. Some decent practical in a couple scenes, like intensity, like the act, everything's solid. It's just too much storyline for how little the story actually is. Like, it's a simple story. People move to a house. It's got a creature. Like, that's it. That's the storyline. So, why not just give us more creatures sooner? I get it. They didn't have the budget, but whatever. Still decent. At number 22, I have Suitable Flesh. This one's pretty decent, too. Barbara Crampton, Heather Graham, amongst a couple other people, but this is like it's a sex demon. It possesses people and makes them super horny. And it's very like the whole movie is very sexual orientated. But it's also good. Like, Heather Graham gives a hell of a performance when she's possessed by this thing. It's her facial expressions, and she just goes all out on it. It's pretty solid. Like, I would definitely recommend watching this one. Like, at this point, I recommend all of them. Next up, I have Renfield at number 21. This was a letdown for me because Nicolas Cage is one of my favorite actors of all time. I love his craziness. And his performance in this is as good as it can get. He is top notch. It's everybody else that I didn't like. And I didn't like how silly the gore was in some scenes, like almost action movies. Silly, like it was just, it let me down, but it's still good. I love when they do a homage to the original with Bela Lugosi, but they have Nicolas Cage in the spot instead, in the same picture as of the old castle. That part was pretty cool. Every part that Nicolas Cage is in is absolutely excellent. I just wish he was in it more. Next up here, this is my number 20th spot for the year. This is Beau is Afraid, which is the biggest movie in here that borderlines on whether or not it's horror or not. This is Ari Aster's third outing. He did Hereditary and Midsommar, and so my expectations were high because those are both quality movies. And this is quality. Like, Joaquin Phoenix goes all out. All the acting is stellar. The storytelling is all excellent. There's some comedic elements that had me gut-busting funny. Like, if we were going by quality, this movie would be higher on my list. Because it's pretty great work here. But I'm not. I'm going by how much I like them personally and how much, like, whether or not it's true horror also has to be taken into consideration. But there's a giant dick monster in this thing. It's wild. If you haven't seen Beau is Afraid, you should give it a try just for how fucking whacked it is. It's crazy. There's a scene where his balls are massive because he's never had sex, and then he has sex with a girl, and when he finally lets it out, it kills her. And oh my god, I was laughing so fucking hard. It was like, I did not see it coming at all. And another cool part is that it's called Beau is Afraid. My name's Beau, so it's like, it's weird. Not only is my name Beau, but I also suffer from agoraphobia. I don't leave my house, like, at all. So when this movie was announced, I was like, the fuck? Ari Aster like spying on me or something? Because my name's super rare. And not only that, but then the whole movie is kind of along the lines of a guy that can't leave his house. Like, it's fucked up. It's crazy. Anyways, at number, what's this, 18? 18th place? Or is this 19th? I don't know. I have Knock at the Cabin. This is from M. Night Shyamalan. And, oh man, everything's great in this movie. Acting is top notch. Storytelling is decent. End of the world apocalypse feel to it. It's really like, it keeps your attention the entire movie. I was into it and liked it. But the ending was just so predictable. Like, when you go into an M. Night Shyamalan's movie, because of all his early movies, I always feel like there's got to be some kind of twist. This does not have a twist. This, you know what the movie is right from the very beginning. And that's the biggest problem I had with it. It would be higher on my list if it wasn't for that. It also borderlines on whether or not it's horror as well. Next up here, I have The Pope's Exorcist. This one stars another one of my favorite actors, Russell Crowe. Absolutely love Russell Crowe. Another, like, it's religious horror again. Although it has some good scenes, it's underwhelming on the storyline. Like, it doesn't... I think I like this more than your average person would, just because it's Russell Crowe and I like his style of acting. And I thought some of the demonic stuff was cool. I liked the ending a lot. I like that they actually, like, try to... Like, they base it on a true story. Like, this guy's actually the Pope's exorcist. So that's wild to me. Just knowing that there's people that think they've performed hundreds of exorcisms on real demons is wild to me. I like that concept. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's like I said, it's another watchable one. Alright. Here we are at number 17. Now, this one might be controversial for a lot of people, because I enjoyed this way more than I ever thought I would. I wasn't even going to watch this. I'll just tell you, and then I'll talk about it. It's Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. This one's from Scream Factory. I wasn't even going to watch this, because when it was first announced, like, not only does the trailer look pretty bad, but, and it is, but the movie isn't, it's hard. I think it just went past my expectations. Like, I was expecting I was going to be turning on some, like, Asylum style movie where it's like The Company, The Asylum. I just thought it was going to be so low budget and shitty and a joke. I didn't realize that they were going to deliver a pretty solid slasher. Like, it, yes, the faces aren't done very well on Pooh and Piglet, but it's good enough. And, like, I don't know, it feels like a decent slasher movie to me. I just had fun with it. I liked the sound, the music they're playing throughout. I liked, the acting wasn't even nearly as bad as I ever thought it was going to be. Like, it actually kind of exceeded my expectations big time in that department. But yeah, I'm actually super pumped now for all the rest of them. Like, I haven't seen Blood and Honey 2, because, like I said, I don't leave my house, so I don't really go to the theaters to watch movies. I will go once in a blue moon with my wife and kids, but not very often. So I pretty much have to wait and buy everything that comes out and watch it. And I have practically a movie theater in my house. So I like to just can't wait. I can't wait for that. What one's coming next? After Blood and Honey, we got uh, Bambi: The Reckoning is coming. There's a couple more, and then we have like the Poonaverse, whatever the fuck they're calling that. And it's called like Monsters Assemble or something like that. Like it's pretty fucking wild. I'm excited for that. Next up here, I have Malum. This is like the whole movie takes place in a police station. A young cop, female cop, arrives at the station to do a night shift because her father, a long time ago, murdered all the police officers in the station, and she wants to work there for a night because of that. And it's hard to explain all this without ruining a lot of the story, but it feels like very Hellraiser meets like I don't know, it just feels really what's the other movie? I just watched one the other day, The Void, with Our Life in Horror on their watch party. I watched The Void, and that it feels a lot like that. But the acting's really good. The storyline's good. Like I thought everything about it was actually pretty solid. There's a creature, plus with a case like that on the cover, you better be delivering me something worthy. What do we got underneath? Yeah, I think that's the original art there. But yeah, I would definitely give this one a try. Caught me off guard. I was expecting it not to be good at all. Alright, at number 15, I got Cocaine Bear. This is just a fun, ridiculous movie. This is probably higher for some people. I found it to be a bit disappointing. Like when I went into this movie, I was expecting to just have a blast. Like I thought this thing was just going to be endless, ridiculous bear kills. And it is good. Like it's definitely worthy of a watch, but some of the CG parts kind of threw me out a bit. The bear looked a little too fake in some spots, but I mean it delivers. With the cast is great. Like I'm guessing most of you have seen Cocaine Bear. I don't need to go too deep. Like most of the movies coming up here in my top, the rest of these 14 more. Everybody's probably seen these 14. In number 14th place, I got Megan. Or this is actually, is this 13? No, this is 14th. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Megan. This Chucky clone here. What can I say about Megan? I wish it had more kills in it. That's the biggest letdown for me, I guess. But I mean, she's pretty creepy. I enjoyed the kill she was there. I love the scene where she's luring the fucking dog over into her yard and the neighbor's dog and talking like its master and stuff. Like, there's a lot of things to like in this movie. There's just a few things to not like as well, and that's the problem I think I had with it. Was it's not Chucky. It's really hard. It's hard to do Chucky clones, but it's definitely worth a watch. It's good. What do we got here? This is number 13. This is 65. Now, this is another one that borderlines on whether it's horror or not. But I enjoyed this. This is another one that's probably much higher on my list than it would be on most people's, because I just love like the father-daughter chemistry and storyline going on here. Like it's just I don't know. And I love dinosaur movies. It's one of my wife's favorite movies of the year. I know that. But man, it's hard because I don't want to recommend this one and then people watch it and be like, "Oh, that shitty Jurassic Park." But it's more than that. Like it's got a lot of heart in it. I, that's why I enjoyed it a lot more than I think most people would. In number 11th, I have The Exorcist Believer. Um, Another one yet again. I've seen a lot of people hating big time on. And I can see a couple of the reasons why. The way they introduce Reagan back into the story and all that. I wish they would have left the legacy actors out of it, to be honest. And I think it would have been better. But I liked the story about how the girls go missing and they come back and they slowly start showing they're possessed. I also liked the way they decided to end it with how dark it is. Like, I'm not going to ruin it in case someone hasn't seen it yet. But I don't know. I enjoy a good Exorcist movie. And I thought this could have been way worse than what it was. I actually quite enjoyed it. And then I watched it a second time and I enjoyed it a little more the second time even. Next up here, at number 11, I got A Creature is Stirring. This was A Creature Was Stirring, sorry. This is like a come from nowhere movie. I've never heard of it. And I grabbed it just blind buying. It's got Scout Taylor Compton in this from Rob Zombie's Halloween movies, amongst some other stuff. But I thought this movie was way better than it deserved to be honest. Like the whole movie takes place inside this house with a girl that lives with her mother, and this girl basically turns into a porcupine monster, and it's basically trying to figure out what's going on the entire movie. Is there something causing it? Two people, Scout Taylor Compton and her boyfriend, break into the house. They have reasons why. There's twists. I can't spoil anything because, honestly, it's a great, it has great Christmas feel to it. The color palette that they use in this is excellent. Reminded me a lot of Suspiria's colors that they're using. Great sound and score. Great practical effects on the creatures. Like, honestly, it's a sleeper hit for sure for me. I don't think a lot of people probably have seen that. Now we hit my top 10. That might be a bit controversial for some people, but at number 10, I have The Nun 2. And I have to start out by saying I'm a big fan of the Conjuring universe movies. I really enjoy all of them on some levels. The first two Conjuring movies, I think, are just masterpiece level. And all the rest of them are pretty solid as well. Like, none of them are absolute shit. But to each their own. I know a lot of people have a lot of hate for these movies. And I enjoyed this. I love some of the frickin' camera work they use with the nun herself. Like, there's a scene where Taissa Farmiga's character is in an alleyway, and the nun, there's a magazine rack, and then all the pictures slowly start flipping until it forms the nun, and just the way they use the shadowing work and stuff. And then the first time I watched it, I was a bit let down. This climbed up my list since the last time, like when I did my Instagram top 25. This actually climbed a bit higher upon second viewing for me. I got way more enjoyment out of it. This next one here, in ninth place, I have Cobweb. This is another one that came out of nowhere for me, and I enjoyed way more than I ever thought I would. How do I talk about this without ruining it? If you haven't seen it, definitely give it a watch. There's a twist that is really well done, I think. The acting is all... It feels not good at times, but there's reasoning for it. So, like, definitely see it out to the end, because anything you don't like in the first half, the second half makes up for it. And great. I don't even want to say I'm not even going to talk about it, because I don't want to ruin anything that comes in the second half of the movie. Next up, this is a lot of people's top of the year, and that's Talk to Me. I know some people would put this at their number one, but honestly, this one let me down a bit. To me, this movie had two good scenes in it that I thought were excellent scenes. It's why it's so high on my list, because these two scenes were so good that it bumps it that high for me. But I guess the ending, what was going to happen at the end of this movie, like in the first 10 minutes, which kind of annoyed me, that it was that easy to figure out. But there's a scene where there's a guy that's possessed, and it's really freaking intense. And then there's a scene where a guy goes to bed and doesn't have sex, but goes to bed with the main girl, and wakes up in the middle of the night to something crazy happening. And those two scenes to me are so good that it bumps the movie up that high for me. 4, 5, 6, 7. So here we are at number 7. This one will be controversial for people, obviously. Last Voyage of the Demeter. Or Demeter. I think it's the Demeter, right? Yeah. This tells the story about what happened on the ship when Bela Lugosi's Dracula character was going to England. And although you know what's going to happen in this, like practically from the beginning, because you know that he makes it to England, Dracula, so obviously what's going to happen, right? I liked the atmosphere. I love the... One sec, sorry. I haven't talked this long before my mouth's getting dry. I like everything in this is good. The fucking acting's great. The details on the ship. The Dracula himself is creepy. Like everything, I liked everything about this. Like it could be even higher for me. It might even get higher on the year next time I watch it. Alright, at number 6. This one, a lot of people hated a lot, and I actually enjoyed this quite a bit, and it's The Boogeyman. I thought the storyline was really well done. I love that it's an actual creature. It wasn't just gonna give me some like artsy ending where it leaves it up in the air or something. Like, they actually deliver on the creature, which is awesome. I don't know. I liked all of it. I liked the storyline in the middle with the girl losing her mother, and just like the bullying happening. And I like the intense scenes throughout it. But I don't know. I enjoyed that movie way more than most people probably would. I know I've said that a lot. But yeah, number 6 for me for the year. Number 5 here is Scream 6. Now, if I wasn't such a big fan of the Scream franchise and just the enjoyment of it, this wouldn't be as high because I found the killers to be so boring, predictable. Oh man. To be honest, it's the two lead actresses. It's her name's Barrera. The fuck's her first name? Can't remember. Melissa Barrera, yeah. And Jenna Ortega, obviously. Ortega. They both knock it out of the park. I love their acting chemistry together. But I don't know, like, Courtney Cox is fucking pointless in this movie. Like, I would have loved if they just did without the nostalgia characters. Get rid of them and just went with these new characters. But honestly, like, there is great kills, great stabbings, intense scenes, great build-up. But it let me down in the killers department. So that's why it's not higher on my list. But other than that, like, obviously we're talking about top 5 of the year here, so I'm not really shitting on these movies. They're still top-notch horror movies. At number 4 is the most artsy-fartsy movie on my whole list, and that's Infinity Pool. This is from Brandon Cronenberg, son of his legendary dad. And this one is fucked up and weird. I can't talk much about it because the story is like kind of the whole point. If I reveal anything, the movie's ruined. But like, great performances. Keeps you guessing, trying to figure out what's going on. I usually ain't a fan of these art house type movies at all. Like, I don't like any movie where you gotta look up the ending to figure out what even happened because I'm too stupid to figure it out myself. And then when you look it up and it feels like people are really stretching with what they think it meant, those ones really bug me. But this one is so good in all the like things that it's doing that it's hard to deny it. It's top spot. Not my top, but my 4th. I'm not going to say much about these. Everybody's seen these ones anyway. These are all the top movies of the year. Next up, I have Eli Roth, Thanksgiving. This was way funner than I thought it was going to be. Enjoyed the heck out of it. Thought it was a solid slasher movie. It's just like Scream. It's like a typical slasher. A little more brutal than Scream, though. The kills are better. That's why it's higher than Scream 6 for me, because I thought the kills in this are better. I thought that it's just, I don't know, it's a Thanksgiving horror movie. Like, you don't get a lot of those. But yeah, I actually think this is Eli Roth's best movie. I like it better than Hostel. I like it better than Cabin Fever. Green Inferno's pretty damn good, but I still would give this his best movie. It's fun. And then at number 2, I have Evil Dead Rise. Another quite enjoyable movie. I don't need to talk about everything I loved about these movies because they wouldn't be at the top of my list if I didn't. But I'll just name like some of the things I wish were better. The only thing I wish was different is that they did something different. Something I haven't seen before. Like, this feels like everything that happened. I just feel like I've seen it before. but it's still good. Like, it's the opening is so good. The credits when the Evil Dead Rise comes up, it's so good. The acting's all solid, creepy, brutal, great stuff. This next one, my number one pick of the year. This movie came out of absolutely nowhere for me. It's a Shudder movie, and it's When Evil Lurks. I think this is horror greatness right here. Like, oh man. This is, it's in Spanish, so you have to read. But, geez, man, where do I start? Like, the freaking score is phenomenal, and the end credits song, which is a big deal to me. I love end credit songs. To me, you have to nail those. If I want to get up and leave the theater immediately, then there's a problem. Like, give me a reason to stay at the end. So that's a big thing for me. The kills are brutal. The fucking gore is intense. There's a scene with a dog and a kid in this that's just like, it made me jump, and I was like, holy fuck, I did not see that coming. There's a woman and her baby, and she's eating its fucking brains out of its head, and there's so much to like here. It's got a great story. It feels like Evil Dead almost, like Spanish Evil Dead. It's just like different lore on demons, and I really enjoyed that. Honestly, that you will not be disappointed with When Evil Lurks. Great movie. But yeah, that's my top 50 horror movies that I own. There is, like, if you go on my Instagram, all the digital movies I've watched are also included. But I just wanted to keep this to physical releases that I have and could actually get my hands on. And that's a pretty solid year. Like, honestly, 50 stack here. I don't think I can... I'll try to put them all in front of me here. And show you how big they really are. But yeah, pretty solid stack. Bury myself behind it. Yeah, there we go. Solid stack for the year. But yeah, if you're looking for horror movies, that's the one right there. You're bound to find some in that pile that you would absolutely like. If I'm missing anything that got a physical release, feel free to shout it out to me, because I'm pretty sure I have like everything worthy of a purchase. But yeah, in the comments, if I missed anything that you'd like to shout out, or even give your top 5 on there, I'd love to see what everybody else thinks. And if you haven't seen any of them, want to know more, you could always ask about that in the comments, because I could deep dive on all of them, because they're all recently, like, I watched all these. I didn't rewatch, not everyone here got 2 views, but well over half of them I've seen twice, so it's pretty final. This is my true final top of the year. But yeah, I'm gonna sign off because this was a long ass video, and I can't wait to get out my next one, because now that I've knocked this off, I can figure out what I'm doing next. Thank you so much for joining me, and please like and share my video if you feel like it. If not, no biggie. Thank you.